But I have this fantasy, like I love gifting girls to my men.
Absolutely, yeah. Wrap them up in a little bow.
Like ultimately, a woman who allows a man to have sex or to give sex to, like, I mean, we're really in control.
Welcome to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Here's your host, Marcus.
Hey, you're listening to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. I'm Marcus.
And I'm Amy.
And it is an absolutely gorgeous day here. And I have an absolutely gorgeous guest today who has a story like no other. So I am very excited to have Angie join us in our studio today. Hello, Angie.
Hi.
So Angie and I met, I think, about a year ago. Mm-hmm. I don't know exactly, but when I met Angie, her story just fascinated me, and I was instantly drawn to how she got to this point. Now, Angie is 44 years old.
I am.
So she's considered a little bit older of a quote-unquote sugar baby, somebody that's in that dating lifestyle. What led you to this point? Give us a little of your backstory, because I think our listeners are going to find it quite fascinating.
Oh, okay. So, well, I had a friend introduce me to the sugar baby lifestyle. And at first, I was really kind of opposed because I was married for almost 20 years. Yeah. Very strict Pentecostal background. Wow. So if you're not familiar with the Pentecostal church, women are very oppressed. We're supposed to be very submissive to men. And pretty much everything is a sin. I mean, everything. So in my marriage, I was to be mom and caretaker and cook and house cleaner. And that was my existence.
Was it like that from day one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not like you guys kind of found this church and you grew into it. It was a part of your life.
She grew up with like that, right? Your parents were?
My parents were not Pentecostal, but I married into it. So the ideology, because I come from a very small Midwestern town, so it's just a very constricted view of just life in general, what a woman is, what sexuality is, what just everything is, right? I mean, women have babies, stay home, they cook, they clean, and you don't ask questions. So when I went through my divorce, there came this period of time that I had to really find out who I was or what I liked. And that came in different forms. It came out what I liked in relationships, how I was as a mother, as a business owner, because I have a business now, but also, sexually as well, which will play into the SA thing. Right. That wasn't my primary reason for going into SA. I think I was more curious.
Okay.
Than anything. My friend was telling me about these people that she was meeting and these experiences that she was having. And it was nothing like anything I'd ever heard. And she was benefiting from it in a financial way, you know? Mm-hmm. So I was like, ooh, this is like the trifecta.
And I'm sure the caliber of men that she was telling you about was a little bit higher caliber than what you might find on a traditional dating.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Site.
I think that's one of the most positive things that have probably come out of being a sugar baby for me. Sugar baby. I don't know if I love that term.
I know. I tell it, yeah.
Well, my first episode we named Don't Call Me Daddy.
Yeah.
Because I don't even like being called a sugar daddy. That's just kind of the terms for what the lifestyle.
And I don't like it when people are like SA girl. I'm like, no, I'm not a call girl. Don't do that. No.
Right. I'm not calling you daddy. You're not my daddy.
No. And I think you'll find that most men actually hate that.
Yeah.
There's a few that say, call me daddy, but not very many.
Yeah, they got problems. Not saying that everyone has problems.
We actually had a guest who encountered somebody that she met on the site that had mommy issues.
Yeah.
It was that was an interesting conversation.
Yes.
Oh, I want to hear that one. You'll have to send me the link.
Yeah, that one we're actually releasing that one next, so it'll be
next week.
It'll be a good episode.
I want to hear about mommy issues.
So anyway, you were married for 20 years.
Married for 20 years.
You even served a mission down in Central America.
Yeah. So for quite some time, about a year, I did missionary work in the middle of Honduras, so in the middle of Central America. And we like raised sheep, raised our own chickens, grew our own corn. Like it was total third world. I loved that, actually.
Yes.
I was so happy there. Like it was great. That was actually my dissection from the church, because that was my first time having like a personal experience where I felt like I had an individual identity apart from being told who I was.
Now, you were kind of led a submissive life?
Very. In fact, when I went into SA, I really thought I was going to be a sub.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Did I jump too far quickly with the terminology?
No.
I really thought I was going to be a sub going into SA, because I had always been told sexuality for a woman is wrong.
Yes.
Or in general, in my marriage, sex was very vanilla. You could time it from the time... I mean, just being honest, like from the time that first move was made until it was finished, I could tell you.
Well, I don't think that was
everything step by step.
I don't think that's just your life. I think that's most married lives.
Yeah,
from my experience.
At some point,
Everything in the church was a sin, though. So oral sex was a sin. Anal sex was a sin. It was just, everything was wrong.
Yeah.
Like it was like procreation was to have babies, and that was it.
See, my church did the same thing. They told me that touching yourself was wrong. So I still to this day cannot touch myself.
Yeah,
I feel so bad for you.
Yeah, still to this day. It's a thing. I can't do it. Like I freak out. It's so weird.
You got to get over that.
I can have other people do it for me.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
But I don't know. Like I feel you, and that's very real, and it's very Midwest, that small Midwest town. Yep.
So I naturally felt like a man's role was to be dominant, right? Mm-hmm. I can tell you now, I'm not a submissive. Like, I mean, I can switch, and I like switching, because I feel like, categorizing yourself is boring. Like, why categorize, right? I can be whatever I want to be. It's totally an in the moment with the person kind of experience, but I definitely am not.
Right. And there we go again, Brian, if you're listening, don't put people in boxes.
Oh, no.
We had a guest appearance on the Great Love Debate, and somehow putting her in a box became the topic of few of our discussions.
Yeah.
He wanted to put you in a box?
Well, she said he had to pay extra for that.
Right. Yes, yeah. Absolutely right.
No, it just, I'm with you. Like it gets really boring. Like when I think it's boring. There's a lot of guys out there who are like, oh, I'm only dominant. And it's like, no, you're really not. Like everyone, it's just all you're doing when you get into a sexual relationship or have sexual encounters with someone is it's an exchange, right? It's a power exchange is all it is. And so I think to compartmentalize like that is just, it's not a great way to have fun. Like explore a little bit, let your boundaries go and push it.
Well, everybody brings out a different side of you. I may be more dominant with one partner and more submissive with the other. It's just you kind of play off of the yin and the yang and what they bring to the table and what you bring to the table.
I think like a lot of our listeners, and I'm not saying that it's true for all, but with the questions and everyone saying that they are so inquisitive about the show, maybe that's something that men need to consider is like, don't put yourself in a box, because like we as a society have put this on men, and I'm not trying to get political here, but we put this on men to be this like all powerful figure, and they have to be dominant. And some men don't want that, like it's not really their nature, but we've put that on them.
Right. I think that we talk about women and like their role as being submissive sexually, et cetera, a lot. But I don't think we really digress and go into the topic of men and how they feel all this pressure, right?
Yeah.
Like for a man. And I think the thing is, when you're dominant sexually in any role, if you're really good at it, it's not about being physically in control or causing pain or anything like that. No. Control is really about, I know what is going to make you feel absolutely amazing, but I need you to get to a point mentally where you can let go to just experience what I have to give you.
Subspace.
Right? Right. It's so good. But I think everybody needs that at certain times, which is why I think categorization of roles is like, it's so limiting.
Yeah, it is.
Sexually.
It really is. Yeah, I agree.
So how did your marriage finally end? What was the final straw?
Oh, we moved to Arizona from Honduras. Yes. I don't know how the
roll the R's.
Honduras. He wanted to move back to Illinois, which he did.
Okay.
And I was like, no, I can't go back to that life. I can't go back to this. No. I knew that I had become more than that, and I needed and wanted more than that.
So how old were you when this took place?
It was like 8 years ago. So
okay.
38.
Okay-ish,
I guess. Did I count right? I don't even know if that. I don't know if I can subtract.
Yeah, 36 or so.
Sure.
All right. Now you're single. Mm-hmm. What's going to happen in your life now that you're single?
So it's crazy because I love being single. I think that's one of the beautiful things that being a sugar baby has taught me is you asked me earlier about like meeting different caliber of men. Mm-hmm. And that has been such a great thing for me because you are who you hang around with, who you talk to. But we kind of set limits on who we feel like we're worthy of having relationships with. So we stay at a certain level. So I began to meet these men who are incredibly successful, incredibly intelligent, not just, they're going to give me money or gifts or anything like that, but they were incredibly brilliant.
Yeah, geniuses.
People.
Yeah.
And we could have equal conversation, and they saw me as their equal. And suddenly it had me looking at myself in a way that I had never been able to look at myself before. And I'm like, why am I limiting myself to this life? Not because I expect somebody else to give me that life for me personally.
Yeah.
But because,
I'm right there with you. Oh my gosh.
Yes. But because I was like, wait a minute, they see me as valid in their arena.
Yeah.
I am valid in that arena.
Brene Brown.
Yes. So therefore, why am I not in that arena? Why am I not toe to toe? Why am I not equal?
Yeah.
And then it just becomes this powerful, synergistic kind of thing that begins to happen in you. And you begin to really appreciate almost these men for this gift that they have to give you of like acceptance, validation.
Yeah, the validation's huge. Yes.
It is, but not on a sexual, because anybody can do sex.
Yeah, sex is...
I mean, for women, sex is easy,
It's
I guess.
very easy.
Well,
I mean...
some are much better than others, but it's easy to get to that point.
I think... I don't know. I
For
think
girls like us.
there we go. Yeah.
Right.
We're the elite. No, I'm just kidding.
That's right. We are.
All right. So I guess my question is, after the divorce, did you try traditional dating? What happened there? What were your experiences?
It was bad. Like, I still don't date. Yeah. And not because, so there is one thing I'm going to touch on with the sugar daddy world, and that it is a world of two sides, right? It's such a dichotomy because you do have this world that you're learning so much about yourself and your sexuality, you're empowered, the flip side to sugar daddies, sugar babies is that it does monetize sexuality. Mm-hmm. So you at some point begin to think, do I want to spend my time in the normal world with this person?
Yeah.
Because it's not bringing me anything. Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go just have a random hookup when I can have a hookup that is going
might pay your rent that month.
I mean, I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So now those guys who come knocking at my door for like hookups or to date casually, I'm just like, no.
Boring.
Yeah.
It's very boring. I lose interest much quicker. Much quicker. You have to, I don't know, unless it's a sub. Now, if a sub comes to me and is like, hey, I want to be like your house slave, I will definitely do that.
Oh, yeah, that's different.
I will definitely do that, all day, every day. Okay, yeah, clean. Go for it.
And I do have a couple, one or two sugar daddies, if you will, that we formed such a strong relationship that now we see each other and that's just, we're beyond that sugar daddy, sugar baby relationship. We're not going to date. because it's not really my thing.
Right.
I feel like for me, I still have so much more to figure out about myself. And that will go back to your question. I did date after my divorce. I picked horrible, awful, terrible people to have relationships in. And I felt like I gave them my all.
Yeah.
And I got absolutely nothing in return.
Yeah.
Like,
it was just take. They just like take.
I would clean for them. I would cook for them. I would help take care of their kids. I would do all of these things.
Yeah.
So I was giving the very best parts of myself and literally getting nothing in return in any way. Yeah. So I think that when my friend approached me with this new thing I heard about called sugar dating.
And how long ago was that?
What? Like, it's been 2 years. It'll be 2 years in November.
Well, actually, so you're still fairly new.
Yeah.
In comparison to life and in comparison to your single life.
But it has changed me exponentially in that short period. Like, I am not the same human being today that I was 2 years ago. And I am ridiculously happy.
Yeah.
Ridiculously confident. Like, and ridiculously more successful in my own personal life and business.
Yeah.
So you get on the site and then you started meeting people, and then what led to all the success? Because there's girls out there who are saying they're not finding success.
On SA? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
So it sounds like it came fairly easy or pretty natural for you.
I think so. I think I've always been super sexual.
Yeah.
It was just always really suppressed.
Yeah.
I think the hard part for me with SA and dating in general was, okay, so in the church, in the Pentecostal church, you date to get married. You court. You don't date for fun. You do not have premarital sex. You do not touch yourself.
Yeah.
It's a very limited thing. So for me, it was getting past that shame block. So I guess I just decided at some point, if I was going to have to deal with the shame of sexuality, I might as well do it with purpose rather than for heartache or random fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then
you being involved with a very strict church upbringing and marriage, you're still very spiritual, even though you've left that.
I am. Yes. So, I mean,
you can still keep it. It's, yeah.
Well, I mean, whatever you want to believe in. Do I think, okay, so would not consider myself like traditional Christian anymore. I definitely studied quantum physics, moved a lot more into spirituality regarding like energy, things like that. Do I think that if I were Christian in the church that God would hate me for this? No. Why would he? That's just silly. You know, I had children. So for my divorce, the way that it went, when you leave the church, you leave everything. So, you know, I had no child support. I was stay-at-home mom for 20 years. I had no degree. I had no job history. I was starting from scratch. Yeah. So it was basically I was, 36 years old, but as a 20-year-old would be starting out in life.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's hard. That's really hard.
Yeah.
But look at you. You blossomed.
Yeah.
That's really great. That's really beautiful.
So tell me, what kind of guys, now you said you've found a lot of success on the site, and I know you've had your share of what the fuck. So tell me what you're finding out there and give me a couple stories. You look like you have a few to share.
I mean, everybody does. It's such a learning process, right? And even now that I would consider myself, I guess 2 years probably isn't experience. But I feel like I have a lot more experience. Okay, so number one, it's funny because men on the site seem to get so offended when women ask for money up front, which I don't but a lot of girls do. But like men have no problem. Like, oh, send me a picture, send me a video, send me this, send me. I'm like,
I've heard that a lot.
And I'm like, why? Like, I haven't met you in person.
Yeah.
Like why would I give you something of value what have you given me? Like 3 messages?
Yeah.
Do you get that a lot too, Amy?
Stop.
Not anymore. No, my profile's pretty much.
Yeah, you've tweaked your profile to a point where
I have too. I'm pretty cut and dry. Like my profile literally says, if you ask to see my private photos before you say hello, go away.
Lots of profiles have that almost exact same verbiage in there.
Like, does it?
Oh yeah,
I can't see the women.
Oh, yeah.
Although I wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
No, it's very common. And again, I've discussed that actually on a previous episode. Part of the problem with the website and the formatting is on the mobile version, when you click on a profile, they'll maybe have one or two pictures and then they have their private ones. And so you hit request access to see their private photos, which, gentlemen, most of the times they're just additional face shots. It's nothing really too sexual or anything. But once you go down and read their profile, sometimes you don't want to see them anymore, but you can't unclick it.
Okay, that's fair.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that might just access to the private photos, but then they're not that interested, or they're just going through a lot really quickly.
And they're just clicking?
They're just clicking.
I don't. So I'm going to be really honest on SA. Number one, my profile is turned off most of the time because I'm like, I have a selective kind of group of people that I play with, if you will. And I like that. I prefer that to just like have because I enjoy the real genuine connection. I don't prefer just the PPM, I guess they call it. Oh my God,
I hate that. Yeah.
You know?
I get it. The hookups. Ugh.
Yeah. So I prefer to feel like, I always call it like really great friends with mutual benefits.
That's exactly right.
Like we're like best friends, but you don't have to take care of me and I don't have to like
cater to you.
Yeah. It's a really great arrangement.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. With mutual benefits. Some people, I think it's interesting when the men get on there and they're like, I'm not looking for a financial exchange.
Yeah, it's like,
and I'm like, why are you on SA?
Yeah, go back to Bumble.
Wait. Men
Tinder.
actually put that on there?
Absolutely.
All the time.
Yeah, they're like, I will not. I don't.
What do they think they're offering?
And
what do they think that the women want?
There's some guys that will say they want like.
I haven't read their profiles either.
Okay, there's some guys who will say that they're like, well, I want like to take you on trips or
like an experience type of an arrangement.
But even then, though, it's like there's no guarantee. Like I've never done that.
It's too vague.
I would never go on a date with a guy like that. Who said
I wonder
that.
if they're finding
and
any
I want
success.
to take myself on trips. Like I don't need. Maybe it's my age. I don't want to say ours because I didn't get your age, which is
yeah.
But
I'm in my 30s.
I don't need someone to take me on trips.
Yeah,
like
I don't want that.
I can do that.
I don't want to go anywhere.
And it's too much time. Like, do I know you well enough that I really want to spend like 3 days?
I know with a guy.
Well, you recently went on a Vegas trip with somebody.
Oh, we don't want to talk. That was.
You didn't seem too enthused when I messaged you
so
afterwards.
Bad. It was,
what made it so bad?
I think what it was the individual that I went with. Number one, I knew in the beginning, so I can't blame him because I knew it was a bad idea. And I allowed
anyways.
So
That's okay. Learning. It's a learning mistake.
I can't blame the person, right? I allowed myself to get talked into this. It was me. It wasn't him. I knew that we didn't mesh that well as far as spending time together, and that attraction wasn't there. And so, but the idea of going to this event was fun, and I hadn't been to Vegas. Because, it's Sin City. Jesus is not in Vegas.
Oh, I saw him on the street corner. He was holding a sign.
And probably had a bottle of tequila. But so I allowed myself to go. It just didn't go well. I can't really blame the individual. The person just, they're just not a considerate person. Like we would be walking and they would be like 100 feet in front of me.
Oh, gosh.
Or like this person would like be bumping me into people because they weren't aware of their own personal space.
Oh, wow.
As a woman, like those little things matter.
Yeah. Okay. So one of my things is I can't stand it when a guy doesn't walk on the proper side of the street.
Yeah.
Like on the proper side of the sidewalk. Like you're the one that's supposed to take the hit, not me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was
That's annoying. I find that annoying.
It's so annoying.
And when they don't open your damn door, like open up the damn door. Like that's all you got to do.
Something.
Like don't just.
So how long did you know this person before you agreed to this trip?
So I actually met them through SA, and we met a few times and it didn't work for me. So I was like, no. Okay. Yeah. We have a mutual girlfriend in common.
Okay.
And he found out that I knew her. And so he asked her to contact me and be like, hey, it's so-and-so. Like she hasn't talked to me for a while, etc. And it kind of re-sparked that conversation between he and I.
Okay.
See, I just knew better.
Yeah, because it didn't work the first few times. What you thought it was going to be better.
Yeah, I mean, it was 100%.
Hey, we've all been there. Like, I've done that.
And now I know, like, just trust your gut. Like, it's not worth it. Doesn't matter what like, for me, if the connection isn't there, there is no amount of trips, money, etc. So I will tell you a really interesting story, right? I don't know if this person's out there, but so I met like an individual on SA, and this individual was very wealthy. Like, I mean, much more so than
your
average wealthy guy.
Yes. Now, I didn't know that when we first got together because I actually don't pay that much attention
to how much they make.
I know, because to me...
Well, they could put any amount they want on there. It's not verified.
Yeah, most of the guys who put the high amounts
aren't really...
They don't have anything. The guys who say I make $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
McDonald's managers make $100,000 a year.
Yeah. But like people who are really wealthy don't want you to know they're wealthy, right?
Yes.
Because they guard themselves like so much.
Oh, absolutely.
And that was actually what was interesting with this person was we had a really amazing connection. I didn't realize they were as wealthy as they were until several meetups in, and they kind of had to actually like make it a point to show me. Which I don't mind.
Interesting.
Not in a, I don't want to make this individual sound bad because actually a really great, amazing person, but like didn't go out of their way. It just kind of became more and more apparent. Like, hey, do you want to see this? Or, hey, do you want to, right?
Usually the more wealthy ones are like that. We've talked about this on another episode. The wealthiest guy at my club, you would never know it.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
I mean,
the problem came when we actually began to really connect, like in a more genuine, authentic way, that it began to dissolve because then the question came into play, you're just after my money.
Oh.
Which was so fucking insulting. Can I say fucking?
You just did.
Yeah, you can say whatever.
I don't know what the podcast rules are.
The podcast world is open. We're not monitored by anyone.
Thank God.
Yes. So say what you want to say.
It was so fucking insulting.
Yeah.
Like to my core. And I won't, like this evening just went bad. It ended up with me like on the curb crying, waiting for an Uber. It was ugly, right? And I realized like that's when I was like, is there like a certain level that I want to kind of keep myself at? Because I don't want to deal with that. Like I don't want to have to deal with people who have a lot of money questioning like my motives.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's probably not like that for a lot of sugar babies.
No,
like
they
just want a lot of stuff. Maybe I don't know.
No,
you're a man. Come on, you tell us.
Well, I expand on that story. So what happened?
That's it. He put me on the curb like the trash, like yesterday's news.
Because why?
Because
we're missing part of the story here.
We had been together several times, right? Like no question ever of anything like this. It might have just been under the influence of drinking and too much tequila or whatever. I grabbed his chain, his necklace, and pulled him towards me because I was sitting on the counter. And like for whatever it was that like just triggered something in him. And he was like, why are you after my chain? You just want my stuff. You just want my things. You just want it. It set something off in him that like, I know. And that sounds so silly.
No, I had somebody very similar. Like, in fact, we still talk as friends,
yeah.
But he absolutely had that same triggered reaction. He's like, the only reason why you want to hang out with me. And I'm like, we have not done anything once. And I was like, this is why I don't want to do anything with you is because I can actually see that you've been used a lot because of your money. And I think that sucks. That really sucks. And I want you to know that I'm not at all am I after your money or do I want any of it? Like, I just want to be sure that you're okay and that you don't feel alone because that's really, to be on top like that really sucks. Like it sucks sometimes for those men that wealthy.
To question everybody's motive around
the people that will hang out with them. That's all they want is they just want handouts. And it's like, I see it. And I think it's just,
I think that's why it hurt me so much is because I am not the type of person. Look, I'm a grown up. I'm a grown ass woman. Yeah. If we make an arrangement, the arrangement's the arrangement. I'm not going to come to you and ask you for this and ask you for that. And I'm building my own business. I want to do things my own. I was controlled enough in my life.
You and Amy are so similar.
I don't want someone to own me. Like your money is great. And I've told this person that like I am so proud of you for what you have accomplished.
Yeah.
I know we have an arrangement, but it benefits both of us. So it's equilateral, right?
Yeah.
It has symmetry, has balance. That's not what I'm after in you. And I think that's what hurt me the most, is because I really valued this person, like for who they were as a person and the stories that we had shared. So to take what we shared together and make it that cheap and that insignificant was so insulting, because I was the last person that honestly would have been after their stuff.
Yeah.
Couldn't care less.
Yeah.
Because that's not the value of a true connection to me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So far off of the essay topic, right? But I do, in my arrangements, feel like having that a genuine connection with the individual is so important to me personally.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's different. Like, I mean, essay is a huge world. I don't judge. I think it's a beautiful place for people to be very authentic in what they want. And different people have different needs and different desires. And there is someone on essay to meet every one of those.
Yeah.
And that great for them, like good for them.
Yep.
But I appreciate genuine connection and respect.
Yeah.
And a safe space to explore.
Absolutely.
Not judge, try new things. You benefit me because you help me feel safe in my day-to-day life, because I know that I can survive or build my business or do whatever. And I benefit you because I'm making you feel nurtured, cared for,
whatever they
like
need,
whatever it is that you're getting from me. And it's this beautiful equal trade-off. It's not, oh, I'm taking from you or you're taking from me.
Yeah. And that's how it should be.
Well, one thing we talked about on the episode actually that just released this week, we talked to a sugar daddy out of, I think out of Florida, he said.
Yeah.
But he wrote a book. And
I want to go to Florida.
But one thing that we had in common is that we like to take our sugar babies and not just give them fish. We like to help them or help teach them.
Are you Jesus?
Well, you know, we did make the parable. But we do like to involve them in our business and help them if they're entrepreneurial. Mm-hmm. Have you run into that quite a bit?
Oh yeah, I know a tremendous about crypto and different things, because I have to be careful what I say, because I don't want to give like any identities or anything away. I have one sugar. He was like my OG, my OG sugar daddy, right? He is still my best friend. I respect this human being probably more than anybody in life, just flat out. And he is brilliant, just brilliant with this. And he's the one who really, I don't know how he knows people the way he knows people, but he's the one who really gave me this safe space. Like he would be like, when you meet with someone, call me and tell me about it. Or like, nice. I think coming out of the church and this male dominated, oppressive kind of lifestyle, I almost needed the permission of a father figure to say, it's okay to do this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not wrong. You're a woman. Go ahead. Yep. Like, and he gave me all this room and space to do it. And I can say he was like, I'm so fortunate that he was like the first person that I really met on SA, because he's very experienced in SA. Mm-hmm. He is dominant, but not, I would not call him. Yeah. I wouldn't call him a Mr. or a Sir by any means. Master. Maybe with other people, not with me.
Right.
But anyway, but he taught me so much about just this whole world of like crypto and finances and investing and like just ways of thinking that were so outside of anything I had known. Mm-hmm. And like I gained so much experience and knowledge from him and still do. Yeah. He's like my best friend.
Oh my gosh, that's
amazing. Amy has multiple men that she has met who have introduced her to contacts in the kind of in the field that she's studying, and she's got quite a book of contacts basically that once she's done with her school and this specialized studying she's doing. So when I met you, you were running a business out of your home.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Out of your kitchen, you were doing prepared meals.
Meal prep.
Yeah.
And it is still in line with what I'm doing now. It's just that particular part of the business took up a lot of time and manual labor. So I've kind of,
Well, one thing that I was impressed by you is your entrepreneurial spirit. So I'm thinking SA is like a perfect space for you. Mm-hmm. Because most men on there have owned businesses or they're head of companies. They've gotten their wealth, usually by a lot of hard work and hard knocks.
Yeah.
And they like to share that knowledge.
Right.
They really do. They like to help people who have some kind of a drive, some kind of a spirit to succeed. I find great joy in that.
Well, I don't think any man ultimately wants to feel like they're paying for sex. And I'm just calling it what it is, right? Because no man wants to feel like, hey, I can't go out on my own and get this. And look, every man can. I would never tell a man that he couldn't, because every man can. It's just whether or not that man has the time.
Yeah.
You know, the drive, the whatever to go do that. But no man ultimately wants to feel like they're, because that's so disingenuous, right? Because then you have to question yourself, is this person with me because they want to be, or because...
Yeah.
So I think when you go into that environment where there's this genuine exchange of just experience, then it kind of changes the game a little bit. It becomes a little more authentic, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And I form a bond with them, whether it's a strong emotional bond that we have sexually or intimate, or enamorous feelings. Is that right? I struggle with my words.
I haven't heard the word enamorous in so long.
Wait, we're cutting that part.
I need to use it more.
But I find that it just brings pleasure to my soul to really help somebody succeed, because I've gone through the struggles and I've gone through the trials and tribulations of trying to succeed. And there's valuable lessons that I can teach them. And you know what? There's so many valuable lessons that they teach me.
Well, really, that is the most beautiful gift you can give somebody, right?
Yeah.
Is not like money. Like, it's kind of like your fish theory. You give a man a fish and he eats for a day, but you teach him how to fish and he's set for life. So you can benefit somebody financially for a day and they pay like their car payment that week or whatever.
Right.
But if you're helping them grow as an individual, and you know that even if you're not speaking or whatever, that person is better off in life because you've given them something, then like you've really given something of value.
Yeah. I even know of a gentleman that his sugar baby now runs his company.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And she does a great job.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I know several sugar daddies that their past arrangements run their companies.
Really? Well, I'm a baby.
Yeah, no, you'll get there.
So you being a little bit older, are you finding it difficult? Because a lot of the men may be looking for girls in their 20s or 30s. Here you are in your 40s. What are you finding?
I've found that I have a niche. And there is a lot to be said in marketing about a niche.
I agree. I actually was excited to meet you because you were older.
Right.
And I could have a little bit, I hate to say this, but a little bit more of a mature conversation with you. I just anticipated you could kind of understand the era I grew up. You might understand a little better of some of the things I went to because we are closer in age.
Yeah.
There's just not a lot of women on there that are in their 40s.
I think that, and it's probably not fair, but I think when you think of the typical like college student, the typical young like sugar baby, there's just this assumption that they just want a nice pair of shoes, a nice handbag, a nice trip, and that may or may not be true for them, but it's kind of more that assumption. I think when you're dealing with someone older, there's two assumptions that come to play. One is experience in many different ways.
The good ways.
All the good ways. Or it's funny how many younger men want to meet up with me.
Are you finding a lot of younger men?
Oh,
on there?
yeah. Like sometimes I have to turn them away because I'm like, you're just too young.
Like what age range are we talking about?
Like if you're under 25, I'm probably not going to talk to you.
There's guys on there that are.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
But I mean,
that would be weird to be called a sugar daddy at 25.
Oh, they're not. There's a couple of them that aren't. They say, like she said, they make like 100,000. Like they'll put that. They like the quality of women that are on.
Well,
here.
I get that.
Right.
Yeah.
Or there are some younger men who are successful, but they just like older women. They like the experience. Like they're not happy with the field of women in their age range.
Yeah.
And they're looking for someone who knows what they're doing.
Like
or can take control.
The guy that, gosh, what are we going to call him? Call him
Mike.
Mike. Mike or
Do you know the fictitious person I just made up?
Amy, we got to be more specific.
Okay. So the guy, you call him Muscles.
Okay.
So that guy, I am not his typical girl that he would go out with. He actually likes older women.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he lost his virginity at 28, and he lost it to like a 50-some-year-old.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so great. If I was a boy and I was 28, I would lose my virginity to an older woman.
One of my best friends.
I'd be like, make this experience.
Yes,
everything I've missed out on.
Yeah, one of my best friends who I play golf with, he always dates older women. But he always has. And all of his girlfriends, matter of fact, one of them was my age, and he was like 15 years older than him. They got married.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Now it didn't last, but his next girlfriend was she was an ex cheerleader for NFL football team, but she was in her 40s and he was in his 30s.
Yeah.
She still looked amazing, but he just always, that's his preference. And he's always felt more comfortable with older women. So there is that niche.
Yeah, that's how Mike is. He likes that. He's like they're just more free with their body. He was like, they just don't have that emotional baggage. They know what they want, and they can do the job.
Yeah.
Like, and we can.
And we can.
Yeah.
So it's amazing to me. And I only say like I have a certain age limit. Number one, because like I don't want to deal with immaturity, but also not every young person is immature. But I have kind of older kids.
Yeah.
And so like, I don't know.
It's
there's
weird.
like this weird moral line, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That
so
would be weird a little bit.
But it's interesting because I do get a lot of younger men, and they're mid 30s is younger. Because I'm 44, obviously.
So it sounds like you're juggling 2 or 3 gentlemen.
Yes.
Is that pretty much like a standard thing for you?
My roster.
Your roster, your go-to men.
Roster. Yes.
I'm sure every one of them bring different things to the table, and you enjoy them
all.
Well, you're going to have your favorite flavor of ice cream.
Do I? I don't think I see. That's what's weird about me. I don't know that I have a favorite flavor. Like, I think the idea, like, and I think that's one of the cool things. Like, a lot of people question, how can you have relationships? Like, we have been so indoctrinated with this belief system, especially in puritanistic, like, America, right? Mm-hmm. That you can only have one valid emotional sexual connection. And that's bullshit. I don't have one valid emotional friend.
Yeah.
How boring. That would be vanilla if I had one friend in life. And that was the only friend that I ever got to talk to or ever got to do things with. Oh my gosh. That would be insanity.
Yeah.
So the idea that you can't have very genuine and real relationships with multiple people at the same time, I think is just a lie. Like, that's just such a mistruth because each one brings something completely different to the table, but each one is just as important and real as the other.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so I have a few, people that I see. Like, I'm not one of those, and I don't judge, again, I'm not a PPM girl. So my neighbor, this is really interesting. I'm bringing this up because my neighbor, he is a very young, very handsome guy. I don't know what the hell he is doing on SA, but he has girls over often, right? Mm-hmm. But he's young and hot, and he has these really hot young girls over. And I meet them. He's always like, "Hey, Angie, come over. I want you to meet this person and tell me if they're okay or not." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm coming over." And I meet these girls, and I'm like, "This is going to sound judgy." But they're just there. Like, they're like, "Okay, my Uber is coming in an hour and a half." They're there to do a job.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh!
But
is that what he wants?
He's fine with it.
He's fine with that. Like, so then, why is he having you meet them? Is it just like I don't know. That is weird. I mean, that's a little,
Well, I understand that. Sometimes you just need your needs.
That's what I was going to say.
And then, but you
vet
want
them
your
for
friend
what?
to like
if you're
them
just
too.
Okay, if you're just okay with them coming over for an hour and a half, why do you need them
talking?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows?
But it's interesting. There is definitely a different. There's definitely a different way that younger people think. And I mean, I was younger, right, than older people. So like, it is a very different world, I think. Yeah. Like, I think younger people on SA really see it more transactionally based, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, not to put words into their mouths because I don't know them all, obviously. But
so what's your sweet spot? Like, what is your ideal person on Seeking?
Ideal person on Seeking.
Like, you have 2 or 3.
Yes. Yeah. So for me, I'm definitely a sapiosexual. Like, you have to be smart. Don't try to impress. Oh my gosh. Pet peeve. If you want me to call you daddy, master, or I don't know. You'll have to try to articulate this for me, because I know that you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But there are some men that like come off to you in this very like condescending, patronizing way. It's
exactly what she's talking about.
I do.
It's hard to articulate.
Yeah, it's like it's just this air that they have about them and the way they speak to you. It's like they're speaking down to you almost. Yeah. And they're just they're really, really trying to overpower you in many ways. I guess like they use their wealth as a form of power over you. And they think that doing that will entice you to do whatever they want.
Right. And I'm way too prideful.
Yeah.
Like,
just like, okay, I don't care about that. Like, I'm not care. Like, don't do that to me, because you're trying to step on me and make me belittle me a little bit. It's almost belittling, honestly, because it's like they want to tear you down because they see that you are a strong individual. And it's like it's this thing that they do. And it's just to like, I don't know, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
So the men that I'm attracted to, though, are the men that just, I guess curiosity. I really like men who are curious, or they know they have a specific need. They just can't get fulfilled really outside of SA or an arrangement. You know, some men have very particular fantasies and desires, and I always think that's fun.
Yes.
So that attracts me. Men that I can have real conversation with. Like, I want to know what's going on in your life. I'm not a jealous type. Okay, so this is just like down and dirty. I honestly preferred married men.
Absolutely.
Amy's in the same boat.
100 times over married men. So one of my pet peeves on SA is like, you'll meet up a few times, right? And this is fun. You meet up, everything is going great. And the next thing you know, they're messaging you like, well, it just really bothers me that it feels transactional.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. Stop it.
Yeah.
Like, we're not, or they kind of start to like get into that gray area of like, well, I really want to see you and I really like you, but I'm like, no, we didn't meet on Tinder, sweetie.
Yeah.
Like, we both knew the rules going in. That sounds so harsh,
so they're
right?
trying to get out of their financial obligation that they've pretty much signed up for.
Right. Yeah. But they're not offering me anything really to make it worth my while to get out that, because I'm still going to be giving the same thing, right?
Yep.
They just have to give less now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Like, no, I mean, some of it is business.
Yeah.
I mean, the reality of it is part of it is business, but I do prefer married men. The reason why is because they don't do that. Yeah. Like, they have this thing at home, and also like, it's just easier. They're usually more like trustworthy.
Yes.
If you will. I feel like I can kind of trust them. Your yes is yes or no is no. Yep. This is going to sound really fucking backwards, but I also feel like, now just, you have to have an open mind for this one.
Absolutely.
I feel like a sugar baby meeting with a married man, you would think, like, people intrinsically think homewrecker. I think it's the exact opposite of that. I think when a man has a space where he can go and he gets that ego fed and he gets that need for sexuality that he's not getting at home fed, he probably goes home, or I know he goes home, and he's actually a better husband.
It's interesting.
He's a better father.
That you say that.
Yeah, go ahead.
That exact same conversation has come up multiple times.
Oh, so
from
I'm not
our
the
guests.
only one.
No, you are definitely not the only one.
No, it's very.
Yeah, I'm finding that
unique
through my research. See, all this is fairly new to me. So, I'm kind of thinking the same thing. I would have never been able to do this when I was married, but I'm thinking if I did this while I was married, I might still be married because I'm finally fulfilling the things that I was missing.
Yeah.
Right. Because men are so sexually minded, right? And they need to feel respected, and they need to feel like admired and oof. And like, most of the men who I meet that are married are not like newly married. They've been married for several years. And it's almost like therapy more than it is like an affair.
Yes. Yeah.
It's more like they're coming and I can't tell you what my essay thing is because then everybody would know. But like, it's almost like therapy more than it is just like a sexual encounter. And it is actually making them a better person to go back and like
to be able to
do their thing.
Yeah.
So sounds crazy.
The husband.
The wives would not agree.
Right.
Yeah, some of them.
Most wouldn't.
Yeah, most wouldn't. But I think but you know what gets me about that though is it's like the women are, no offense, ladies, but you're the one that put your man in this place, in that position. Like you're the one that has limited him, right?
Yeah.
And it's because of your own jealousy, but yet you're not giving him what he needs. So he's probably expressed it and has tried, and yet you just turn over at night, roll over and say, do this. Like, don't do that.
That's
like
pretty much what happened for me.
Exactly. It happens to so many. Like these women like will shut off these men, and it's like you can't do that to somebody.
Not to a man.
Not to a man. No.
And women don't want to admit that, because as women we feel like, oh, but my needs.
We're so selfish.
I am telling you, wives, if you will just tell your husband that he is super sexy, super hot, that you're so grateful that he went to work or whatever. And oh my gosh, thank you for providing. Here, let me suck your cock like a fucking porn star. Or like, I mean, if you would just, like, if women would just do that for their men, because that's what men want.
Yeah,
they just want that, like, oh.
Yeah.
Or,
try on some lingerie, send a video of yourself or something. Like they want that, it just, like they have to feel that. And I'm in the same boat you are. I'm like, I feel so much better knowing that, like, with married men, that I can give them that. I can make them like the things that they truly want, and they just don't even know. They're so afraid to ask their wives. Yeah. And like we talk about it. A lot. And it's just like, I try to coax them actually to be like, try opening up to her.
Do you find yourself giving them like advice? Because there's many times like I'll have these conversations with my sugar daddy, and they're like, my wife or so and so, my just this, and I'm like, well, when's the last time you did this for her? Or maybe she's just feeling insecure in this area. You need to go and do this, because if she feels beautiful, then she's going to give you this. Like, I find myself being almost a marriage counselor.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so fun.
And it's also surprising to me when I do meet some married men, like there's a number of women later on in marriage with older men that the women are actually perfect. The wives are actually perfectly fine with the husband having outside relationships.
Because they don't want to do it.
They want the marriage. And I have a lot of sugar daddies that will tell me, like, I'm very happy in my marriage. I don't want to change my marriage, but the sexuality in my marriage is dead. And this person knows that they don't really want to give me this, so they're okay that I go and I get it somewhere else. Yeah. And it's just this very open. I don't know that I could ever be in a fully monogamous relationship.
I could not.
Again,
no.
I don't think I could.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. Like,
we've definitely gone down that road with Amy on past episodes, and she's made it very clear that non-monogamous is just her comfort zone.
It's so limiting to be
in a monogamous. Now, if he was like the kingster of all kingsters, maybe, but even then he would be bringing somebody else in. So it's really not monogamous.
Oh, that would be great.
What is it? Yeah.
I have this fantasy. Like, I love gifting girls to my men.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wrap them up in a little bow.
Like, ultimately, a woman who allows a man to have sex or to give sex to, like, I mean, we're really in control.
Absolutely.
Like, we're really, like, we're like the top.
It's I'll tell you what I want. I really want this episode to go longer, but we're running out of time. So we're going to have to wrap this up. But Angie, definitely come back and visit us.
Yeah.
This has been fantastic. I want to hear more of your encounters and what you're finding out there. And
That was a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So much guys.
Fun. Amy's got this huge grin on her face because she completely relates with you, and she knows exactly.
I just am like, what on earth? This
where
person
you're coming from.
Is my soul.
If we start pattering.
I know. It's going to be the worst.
Well, so we'll continue this after we stop recording. But hey, guys, find us at secretsofasugardaddy.com. Tell us your stories. I'd love to have you as a guest on our program. You can find us on Instagram. I've got a lot of funny videos and sugar daddy, sugar baby memes on there. You'll find it quite hilarious. So follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. We're on all that social media stuff.
Don't forget to click the like.
And click the like button.
And subscribe.
Yeah.
Subscribe. Oh, is that?
Don't forget to subscribe.
Oh.
Yes.
Like is the Facebook.
Right.
That's right. Okay.
Anyway, until next episode, we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to connect or even be on the show, we'd love to hear from you at secretsofasugardaddy.com.